Okay, we're going live because we are live right now. Episode 201 on the very last day of the decade. I usually say this, but I think you should say it today.
What is shaking?
What is shaking, everybody? What's going on? It's the last day of 2019 with your boy Mark Cordone, positive psychology coach, founder of the Joy Revolution, and on a regular basis I get to ask people two things. How happy are you today? And what's the other thing I get to ask? I'm so thrown off because you're drinking green juice in front of me. I ask, how much are you living in your purpose? I think it's really interesting today because we have the conscious architect. We have a speaker who dares. We have a positive psychologist, certified in positive psychology. George, good to see you, brother. And we have someone who also, when I met you, you were in pure health, and then things started happening. And we don't have enough time, y'all, to talk about everything that started happening. Like, there's some shocking things, even before things started happening with Jazz. And that's why it's in a podcast that's going to go live tonight at 12. But I am so honored to have Jazz Biancci on the 201st episode of the Golden Mic Live. Jazz, how are you doing, mama?
I am outstanding. Honored to be here. Thank you.
You look outstanding. You look fantastic. And the reason why I say that is just because a couple of months ago, some people were saying you were gray looking.
Oh, I
was. Why don't we go into a little bit about that, because it took us an hour to get through it on the podcast. But why don't you give the Golden Micers a little bit of what happened with you?
So the way I see it, one day I was walking down the street with my little iced coffee on the way to the gym, and we'll never know for sure, but I believe I inhaled something. There's a lot of construction around me.
Legal.
Okay.
It's the same joke in the podcast, people.
And I started having headaches, and then I started having migraines, and I couldn't shake the migraines. And I, was talking to my friend Steph, and she's like, "You need to go to urgent care." And I'm like, "I'm fine. Al, send me some more Reiki." And I wasn't fine. So I stumbled to urgent care, and urgent care got me in a cab. They didn't even charge me. I was in such bad shape.
No.
And got me to the ER downtown, and ER downtown got me uptown because they didn't have the equipment. And long story short, I had a brain abscess, and I had spinal meningitis at the same time. So, yeah.
And that was in was it in July?
June.
It was in June. This was June of 2019. You're turning gray on everybody. I put out a post today about death and how I run from it. I was scared. And here you are now, like I'm not saying that this is not a celebration that you're back 100%. This is just a celebration of life at the end of a really amazing decade. But I know you're going to Soul Cycle and stuff now. Like, don't you have a shunt in your head?
I do have a shunt.
And you're going to Soul Cycle? Like, do I need to have a conversation with your doctor?
It's so funny. My friends are like having conversations with me left and right. Yeah, my nurse practitioner had said, I'm like, I was cleared for duty, or cleared to get back to my life. I'm like, do you know what that means? Because, like, I'm not the normal person. Like, I'm like a junkie when it comes to the gym and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the nurse practitioner was like, well, don't expect much from yourself. You're not going to be the same. You've had, 300 plus hours of antibiotics and 2 brain surgeries, and, go easy. And I'm like, you don't know me, okay? You don't know me. I know my body, and I'm always combat ready. So I went, and I cried because it felt so good to move my body that way. It's a blessing, and it's a miracle, and I'm really strong. I have a strong constitution, which isn't to say that every day is easy, because it's not. But when it comes to like what it takes to use your will to be physical, yeah.
Okay. So I've asked this for 200 episodes, and by the way, I want to say hi to Michelle Madden, good to see you, Mama. Let me rearrange this so we can see Michelle. Hey, peeps, what's going on, says Michelle. We got George. We got George Andriopoulos logging in. Love Jazz. Miss the host of episode 200, though. I don't miss that son of a bitch. I'll settle for the 25-cent version, though. George, I love to hate you and hate to love you, brother. Happy New Year. So you're coming out of, well, actually I want to ask you this, because 200 episodes I've asked this. I even asked this when you were here as the first guest last year before Speakers Who Dare. And I asked you, how happy are you today? And how much are you living in your purpose? How has that changed in the past fucking 365 days for you?
Wow. I'm definitely happy. I'm probably even more happy now consistently than I was then. As far as purpose, universe is shifting that. And so I'm flowing with it. Don't know where we're going, but I'm on the ride. So yeah, I feel on purpose because I'm following the shift.
Amazing. And for those of you watching right now, again, we're celebrating life. We're celebrating the end of things. It's called panarchy, baby. If you take the Joy Revolution, we call it panarchy. It's life, death, and resurrection. If you're feeling good and you're living in your full purpose, come on, now's the day more than ever. Hit that heart. Let us know you're alive. Hit that heart, people. Hit the heart. Come on, let's do it. I want to break records today. Yes, you're hitting it, people. Come on, 5. I got 200 once with a boring ass guest. We can get it more than that. This is a woman who pushed through IVs 6 o'clock in the morning, 3 times a day. Keep it going. Show her some love, damn it. Wow, the positive psychology is really pissed off right now. I'm becoming the Thanos of hearts. Keep those hearts going. I'm gonna hold the show on hijack until I get 100 hearts. 100 hearts for Jazz. And then 100 more so we can continue the show. But here's the deal. For those of you who think that positive psychology, especially on a show like this today, where Jazz is happy and she's growing in her purpose, where positive psychology is 24/7 shits and giggles, Jazz riding on her Joe Dispenza unicorn, dispensing Skittles to the world. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Life is about the ups, the downs, and the all-arounds, and how you handle those opportunities. I want to ask you, do you see opportunity in what has happened, or are you just like, I'm just on the healing path right now? Because you just went through some ups, downs, and all-arounds, Mama.
I think I've trained myself to see only opportunities. I mean, that doesn't say that I don't have moments of like, what the fuck is happening? Or like, I don't feel the shunt in my head, like talking to you and think, wow, there is something in my head. But it's still an opportunity to choose who I want to be and how I want to respond to everything.
What I know it's been only a couple months for you. What have been the new choices you've made?
Wow. I think the biggest choice that I have to continually make and battle with daily is to rest, and let my brain heal. It's really, really challenging. Like, no one teaches us how to heal. And we are so conditioned to go and do and achieve and strive, right? I'm very blessed to have, friends who say, yeah, you need to chill with the striving.
Yeah, all this striving. Look at you using the positive psychology words, the 30-cent words, George Andriopoulos. If you love a 30-cent show, hit more hearts. We're not at 100 yet, so I'm still pissed off, people. 10 more hearts is what we need. I should do a telethon with you. Just get people hitting hearts. Now, the thing is, Jazz, is we're laughing now. It was very scary when you were going through what you were going through. You're still not fully. You won't say that you're fully 100%, or your comeback is complete yet. And you wanted, before last night, she told me my comeback is not complete. I'm still here. So what I'm curious about is, when do you think your comeback will be complete? How do you gauge that?
When divine says you are complete, you may go about and do your work.
Okay.
And I'll know when that is, because I definitely know when it isn't.
So I'm hearing intuition. I'm hearing when you know.
Right.
Not when maybe a doctor might tell you and say,
No.
"Don't do spin, honey."
I gotta flush my brain, man. So I'm like, I need to move for my mental health. That's really important. But yeah, even when I say, because my consciousness is like, okay, and my personality is like, woo, let's go do some stuff. Let's help people. Let's have a fundraiser. Let's do stuff. And my body's like, look, you need to see first, and so I'm great. It's not that I can't see, it's that there's bits of information missing in my vision, and the neurocircuitry in my brain is different. So I'm different and I see differently. It's like being in a new body and seeing the world anew, because the circuitry is different, and sometimes there's bits of information missing visually.
Yeah, that's why the podcast that debuts tonight at midnight is called "Seeing the Universe Through Fresh Eyes," and I mean we've talked briefly about it, but they snapped neural connections that had taken years to build up, good or bad, for better or worse. Those connections were snapped as they were getting to that abscess, and talk a little bit about this change in vision. I don't think it's just it's blurry some days and it's not some days. I would assume that you're having there's some physical symptomatology of brain surgery where things might feel different or look different. But what is the perspective change?
Well, I think when they broke whatever connections they broke and took out whatever they took out, was a blessing. Because, just small example, getting ready for the show and doing all the tech stuff that one must do for a live or a Skype or whatever, before the brain surgeries, that would have sent me ablaze. And I mean, literally ablaze internally. And now it's just kind of yep, I'll be there when I get there. Still trying to figure it out. Trying to see the screen. Trying to find my cursor. So whatever mechanism within my neural circuitry that had reaction to certain things, like doors being slammed or technology snafus, that's gone. There's nothing. There is no reaction. I observe myself and there's just nothing. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. Didn't want it to happen this way, but cool.
So it sounds like some of your triggers have been snapped. Some of the wiring for the triggers have been snapped.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting for folks who either do coaching or mindset work. The result of mindset work is new neural connections are either made or old ones are disrupted, and then it's laying down new tracks. And so I almost see it as Michelle Madden just said this. It's like you were training to see only opportunities with a big old heart for you. Hit that other heart, Michelle. We're at 98. So, but like, I think it's really interesting. I can't, I can say this because I'm standing not in your body. I'm interviewing you, but it seems like you got a fast track to a mindset reset.
It does feel like God, universe, took that like bottle cleaner and went in and cleaned some things out, and then I
Yeah.
got the benefit.
A little fabuloso.
Little fabuloso.
A little fabuloso on that. Yeah. So let's talk this. This is called the life, death, and resurrection of Jazz Bianchi. What was it that what was it that you considered dying, or the death? What were some of the things that died during the process?
A lot of things died during the process. I consider myself someone who always had clear vision, clear sight, no pun intended.
Uh huh.
But I saw what I was not seeing, what I was not accepting, we get so focused on the end game or the goal that we don't care. Like, we're going to make it work. We're going to figure it out. We're going to do what we got to do. Doesn't matter if it's business or love. It doesn't matter. And I was so focused on what I wanted that I was not in acceptance of what is. I wasn't present. So not being present is something that died, and not allowing myself to accept things as they are died.
So, meaning, were you kind of a person that wanted to sort of have control over things
No,
before? Because
no, I just wanted what I wanted. Is that control?
I don't know, but like I do see a new Jazz, like compared to when we first met. Like it was. I don't know about you guys, but I see a lot of joy in Jazz right now. And when I first met you, it wasn't like I saw a lack of joy. I saw just a person who was very focused on doing what it was that she needed to do with her movement.
Yeah,
You know?
and very intense. It was very intense.
Yeah.
Very intense.
Yeah. So as a result of that death, like what is life looking like now for you on that daily basis? Yeah, hit that heart, baby. I see you. I see you guys. Look at her face. Look at when she lights up when you hit that heart, people. How can you not want to hit a heart for her?
The day to day, I spoke to one of my really good friends last night, and I love it because he keeps me straight. And he's like, "You need to chill," because I had doctor's appointments yesterday on like the Upper East Side, and I know my regimen pretty well, but like when your vision, like you're losing bits of information from your vision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know how to soldier on. I mean, I'm trained to soldier on. It's still frightening because I'm on like 70 something street on the East Side. It's rush hour. It's dark and raining. I got to get myself home. And I had rested, not enough. I was still tired, which affects, when I'm in my heart, I'm good. I can see fantastic. It's amazing how the heart sends those signals to the brain and the vision changes. But when I'm tired or I'm not in my heart, it's touch and go. So green juice, Stairmaster, it depends on my vision. It depends on what I'm guided to do. That's usually the day to day. And sometimes I get outside of myself and I start going and doing and like taking on the world and trying to do too much. And my brain is like, no. And so I have to.
Like literally your brain is like no, or you feel the like physical symptoms of exhaustion or something.
I feel the shift in my vision.
Okay, so And by vision, you don't mean the difference in perspective. You mean your eyesight actually changes.
Actual eyesight, yes.
Yeah,
I'm talking about eyesight here. Yeah, not the vision of the future, although
yeah,
I have those too. But I mean actual eyesight. My brain is like,
yeah, yeah. Um, I want to bring up something that we didn't talk about in the podcast. And by the way, like everybody is showing you love right now.
Everyone.
George, $1.72. If I said those words, that's right, George. Try saying those words, big boy. I can't wait to go on your show. Go on your show and raise the value of those words. George, again, I'm not a player. I just strive a lot. Who do you think you are? It's like George is like dad jokes mixed with positive psychology. I love it. Shelly Brown, downtown Shelly Brown, who is the newest member of the Joy Revolution, says I can't put it on, but it says lots of self-awareness, patience, and a beginner's mind. And then she goes back to patience again. Are you feeling that beginner's mind? Coming back, like, are you feeling a curiosity to the world? Are you?
Yeah, I am. It's total beginner's mind.
Give me an example of this sort of that beginner's mind piece.
Wow. I would just say every day when I go outside, like how my brain, like I have, this is so great, like the positive psychology, I've always been into like mindset and the brain. And so going outside and seeing how my brain interprets information and how I have to adjust in my day and my life to that is like, oh, so I guess we're not doing that today. We're doing this instead. And being okay with that and trying to incorporate new things every day and learn something new every day to lay those new neural tracks and help create new connections that are, positive and feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fascinating because I went to a salsa class the other night and it was an advanced salsa class, which is not a problem for me. And yet I had to adapt that beginner's mind because there are some things that I just wasn't getting. I just wasn't getting them. And I had to let that be okay and let my body take over and get what I did get and watch my mind want to have an opinion about it or a conversation about it and shut that down.
Amazing. Linda Yellen, such an inspiration, joy and gratitude she's sending you right now. Shelly Brown again, who, by the way, is in the Joy Revolution. There's so much joy in being present for what is. Shelly Brown again. She's getting naked, Mark. Yeah, she's if you know Jazz, she talks from, she lets you know what's on her mind. Linda Yellen again, we are all with you. I actually want to stop on that comment that Linda's talking about. We are all with you. How was that process of going through this? Was it a lonely one? Was it one full of support? Was it one where you felt that we were all with you?
Yeah. I definitely felt the support and the love. It was astounding, to be quite honest. I never felt anything like that in my life. And when I was going through the IVs, I mean, I was really fortunate. One of my badass people had flown in and couldn't stay, but he helped me help myself and get my friends on board to pass through while I was doing the IVs because that was really intense. And we made a schedule and a calendar, and he's like the king of logistics, you know? And yeah, the love, it was profound. It was profound. It still is profound.
Yeah, I was gonna say that even though you're in the healing mode right now, and I know a lot of people were staying with you. You're getting a lot of text. How has that been for you? Because I could see it maybe being a little bit like you get used to people taking, being there with you, and then now it's almost like returning, but you're saying that it's not. You're still feeling it.
I'm still feeling it, and I don't think I would ever get used to that. It's such a blessing, It's New York City. People are busy. They have lives. It's just New York City, even just the energy alone. So, when people take the time to reach out and come over, or like, I'll reach out, can I crash on your sofa? Because I need to be around people that I love and that feel safe. It's good for me. And yeah, it's completely changed my perspective on family and chosen family and people. It's like it's affirmed everything I've ever believed about the goodness and the spirit of the human and what we can do and what we bring to the table. The value of everyone and everyone's energy is never doubt that you matter. You absolutely fucking matter.
Amazing. I'm writing a couple things down because I'm like, these are quotes that'll go on my wall. Shelley again coming back, letting that love and support in is even more badass. Some who argue with reality push that support away.
Yeah.
Right?
I used to do that.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Was that before the incident?
Yeah. Totally.
Really?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm a loner. Like
Hermits in the house.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
And like I got this. I know how to do this. And but I would want help. Like I would want support, and sometimes I would let myself receive it. It took me a really long time to learn how to ask for it. It took me a long time to let myself. I think sometimes when we aren't used to camaraderie and the love of those around us, we can become suspicious. Like, really, what do you want from me? And you can feel when someone wants something, and when it's just a defense mechanism, And for me, it was a defense mechanism, and I realized I was talking to like one of my friends, Kevin, like 2 or 3 months ago, and there was this point that it was like Neo in the Matrix when he's busting the white room and he sees all those televisions on the wall, and the architect is like, you've been here before, you've made this decision before, you've had this problem before, and it shows all the times that he's burst into the room and he had to make a choice. And I realized that, my choice was, to keep being, independent and a loner and solo and hard and self-reliant, or to let myself be loved and be helped and be a part of something bigger that filled me up inside, because I don't want to go it alone. It's hard going it alone, And so I had to make a different choice. And that, I feel like that loner choice, I feel like the choices that we make over and over and over, whether in this lifetime or other lifetimes, like they're across the board. Like they go back farther than just, this incarnation. They go back past lives of being a soldier or being solo or being so independent, and really like cutting that and healing that in those lifetimes and this one, which may sound a little like, out there for some people, but nothing is new under the sun. Our habits here in this lifetime are not just from this lifetime. And so making that different choice to have the different outcome.
I'm going to go and ask you something that you talked about on the podcast that debuts tonight at 12 Eastern, right at midnight. You can download the full-on podcast. And would you say it was crazy?
It
It
was
was insane. It
insane.
was insane. We talked for 3 hours, and it's unedited. It's amazing. But
It felt
one of the and yeah, that's Flow Baby. And one of the things that and I wanted to acknowledge you, Linda. Asking for help is the hardest thing to do. It is so hard to do. And she too is like, I don't think it's out there. So I want to go out there with you because you talked about something when your friends came into the hospital and they told you afterwards they were with you and like you were gray, you don't remember them visiting you. You said you were traveling.
oh yeah. Yeah, it was.
Where were you?
I don't know, but it was. I mean, there were some points I traveled in history, so there were some points that I believe it was here across the historical timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was out there. I don't know where I was, but I was clear at one point. This is not Earth.
Did you run into me while you were traveling in history? Did I still look handsome when I turned 60? George wants me to ask you. He wants to know if I'm still handsome when I'm saying no.
George is really looking out for you.
No, but I like talk about this. Like you were traveling. Like help us understand this. We only have 5 senses, but how can you describe it through those 5 senses in terms of what you were seeing or what your emotions were and you know, like I'm thinking about you like flying through space and shit like that. Like I don't know, like what do you mean by traveling?
There was a place that I was on. It had to be another planet, right? Or another dimension or it was another something. And I remember looking around, and it was like fire and steel. That's what it felt like, fire and steel. It was aggressive, violent, dark. And I remember,
Like Mars?
I don't know, but I remember thinking, this is not my reality, and this is not Earth.
So you might have been hit in some other dimensions.
Totally, totally possible.
Did you interact with other like beings in those travels?
I saw other beings in the travel, and I remember texting one of my friends. I'm like, "Oh, I wish I could draw. I really wish I could
So
draw."
they were not human.
Not all of them, no. But on the planet, it was weird because I knew someone on the planet, and it was like we were being forged from steel and fire. And I remember like touching his skin, and it was thick. It was like he you know, like humans are like soft, like we're easily damaged, but his skin was thick.
Are you sure an episode of The Terminator wasn't playing in the background?
Yeah.
That might have been. No, but I think that it's really interesting. And this, I know we talked about you travel. You said you were traveling on the podcast, and I never got to follow up. Linda wants to know, was it scary?
I didn't feel scared there because I knew what he was made of, I was made of.
Mm-hmm.
We were made from the same things. And so while it was like desolate and fiery and steel and like an aggressive environment, no. Okay. No, I was really, talk about beginner's mind and awe. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. Yeah, and then in one place there were these beings. I mean, maybe it was the Greys. I don't know. I don't think it was, but yeah, I wasn't afraid at all. I was more fascinated.
Could you communicate with them?
I feel like I was more
like telepathy or common empathizing or.
You know, it wasn't. it's like I was a traveler, like I was like,
What up? This is my passport.
right. I wasn't trying to interact. I was really just in awe of the things that I was seeing, like rapid fire and the different places and the beauty that was out there. Um, yeah, no, I was just, holy shit.
I could talk to you about this for an hour. We got another question from my bromance buddy,
You're like,
the host of the 200th. Amazing Jazz. You were on a super interesting journey, even through adoption, before your medical speed bump. You know, and you talk about that a lot on the podcast. That idea of adoption and family. How has this major event in your life affected your story?
wow, George, that's a great question. Yeah, it's
No. I'm still the. Don't go and tell George that's a great question. I ask the questions around here. But it's a damn
I'm
good,
sorry.
it's a damn good question, George.
Um, talk about destroying the ego and the identity. You know, you and I talk about this a lot,
Hmm.
and who I am, who I thought I was. It's healed tremendous things. Like I told my surgeon, it's like he facilitated the healing of my brain, but what he really did was so much bigger and deeper and vast than just that. Um, yeah, the idea around father and mother, those things have healed and have brought to my consciousness from the unconscious, right? Those things that have come up for me have been like, oh, I did take that on, or I do interact in a way that's not authentic to me. It's a way that I learned how to be through watching other people have relationships, be that my mom, my adopted mom, my adopted grandmother, and realizing, oh, I haven't really been me yet. So who am I? Who do I want to be in relationship? My grandfather was blind later in life, but like, you know, they built a business together and she stood by him and I would watch her shave him with a straight blazer, and like there was so much love there. But I made up all these stories about what that meant for me and then went out and lived my life accordingly. But I was just reenacting a story that wasn't mine. Like I didn't author that. I just thought, oh, that's cool. I'll put that in my shopping bag. You know, and so I'm seeing like those different experiences
Yeah.
and rewriting them.
I mean, it's you know, with things like this, what you're going through, I call it the closest thing to time traveling. To be able to go back into your past and rewrite certain things, it actually has an impact on you now by the way that, you know, in the way that you see the world. It's total time traveling to me. So you can time travel through the mind, and you can do all that crazy shit that you're doing, traveling and seeing the grays and all that type of stuff. So I, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you something that I only ask on the podcast, but I forgot to ask it because George did such a bad job of answering it. But I'm gonna ask you in a second. But you and I both are positive psychologists. You and I are both. I say, especially you, that spiritual journey that you're on, right? What did this experience tell you about what we need to learn? What more spirituality and what more positive psychology either adds or doesn't add? Because everyone thinks that they have the answer now because of positive psychology, or, "Oh, I'm all spiritual, I know this now." but you just went through a very human experience, being a very spiritual person, and you were scared. You know you're in a meat suit, and you were scared.
I was scared one night. I wasn't scared on the journey in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I actually felt very safe in the hospital, except for that one instance where I like text you and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
Mm-hmm. By the way, hi Trisha.
Love you. I've been more afraid, here in my apartment, because sometimes I wake up with my solar plexus like lit, and it's fear, and I feel that fear. They were messing around with my thymus, so it's like,
yep.
And
fear center.
Yeah, and those survival. It's not even in the moment. It's some imaginary place in the future that I'm freaked out about. So I believe that I was not afraid in the hospital because of my belief system and because I am so sensitive to energy. I could feel the prayers. I could feel the love. I could feel God. I was floating. And that was just a walk in faith.
Okay.
And trust.
So I think to rephrase the question then, what has this taught you on deeper levels about positive psychology and spirituality?
Our relationship to that which is greater than ourselves, to include our higher selves, is imperative. You have to for me, that is how I got through this experience. It's why I'm happy right now, because I know that I am connected. I'm connected and in communication with life, and able to take those cues and trust. And when I'm afraid, I can use all my tools to get back to that place of trust and faith. As far as positive psychology goes,
it's a sham.
I think the most important thing is understanding resilience and how to build resilience.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to get taken down a road of, negativity and fear, but to the nth degree where you start doubting yourself and you start doubting your capacity to heal and your capacity to connect, right? It's very human to shit on everything sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want to ask you this because we're totally it's 49 after the hour.
Oh, okay.
We're totally you're like whatever. We're having fun here. Wait, actually, I want to throw this out. Oh my God, George, seriously, 45 minutes into your interview, Mark, and I asked the first great question. George asked the first great question. It was a great question, George. All right, come on, get over it. Great interview so far. Amazing, guys. Shelley Brown, just wow. George, coming back. Isn't it amazing how healing and self-actualization can happen through pain? So incredible. So incredible. Shelley, I don't know what this means, George, but I'll put it. I don't remember this, but I'm sure it was your fault, Home Slice. I'm sure he's saying something to me to diss me. So, boo George, everybody. Give him a thumbs down. More hearts, please. Resilience from Linda is the key to survival. Linda, whose side are you on? George is awesome. Linda, you were growing on me so much. Trisha Brooke, love you. Amazing. So I want to ask you this. This is something that I do on the podcast. Because you were my first guest, we didn't get to do it because it was so unscripted and in flow. And then someone was flushing the toilet, and it was amazing. It was so real and amazing. So I want to ask you this, Jazz. And like I said, if you want more of this, we're going the Golden Mike podcast. It's not this. It's a completely different show. Goes online 1/1/2020. And download it or subscribe to it now. So when you wake up or when you're partying, you can listen to the rest of Jazz's amazing story. You need to listen to it just for the story of the psychic healer who spoke to Jazz 6 weeks before this went down. You have to listen to that story. Jazz, this is very positive psychology. I don't like asking it that much, but also at the same time, it's the last day of the decade. Who was Jazz last day of the decade 10 years ago compared to who you are now?
Wow. 10 years ago. Actually, thank God for Facebook, because I just looked at my memories. That was 2009 going to 2010, right? Or, yeah. My Facebook post was, my Halston didn't fit. Does anybody have a tiny black dress I could borrow? And I was in relationship, and I believe I had Celeste at that time. But really, I was doing the work. I was writing. I was having, epiphanies and amazing experiences. But I was maybe like 5 layers away from my core, from like this deep love and acceptance of what I am and what I'm not. And today, I thought I knew things then. I mean, I knew I didn't know things, but I thought I knew a lot of things. And I am very clear that there is so much life and world and universe out there.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. And I'm cool with that.
Linda, Shelley, George, everyone watching the replay, I want you to think about who you were. Myself, I'll reflect. I've been reflecting on it too. Who were you exactly 10 years ago on this day, the last day of 2009? Now I want you to go to 2019, right? And I want Jazz from not 2019, 2029, 10 years from now.
Wow.
And I want Jazz 10 years from now to come in and sit right next to you right there, Jazz. I want her to sit right next to you. What is it that she would tell you or what is it that she's telling you right now?
We did it. We did it. We fucking did it.
She's still going to have a potty mouth 10 years from now. Wouldn't love her any less. So y'all, this is the last chance of the decade to hit these hearts, the last chance of the show. I'm going into a final part. This is going to be a part that I do on the not the Joy Revolution, on the Golden Mike podcast. I'm doing it here because we didn't get to do it on the podcast, so I'm going to do it now. Jazz, I want you to imagine, or I want you to think about what it means to embody joy. What it means to embody joy, okay? So hit these hearts, y'all, as she's answering. We're coming to a close very soon. Joy feels like what?
Ecstasy. Bliss. Flow. Ease. A vat of chocolate.
A vat of chocolate.
You just slide into that vat of warm chocolate and just feel that, like, the texture and the consistency, like, all around your body.
Amazing. Joy smells like?
Joy smells like cherry blossoms. Yeah, cherry blossoms and and the forest and peonies.
George, do you see how it's done? Joy tastes like.
Ah, a juicy, ripe, white peach. The juice just drips down your chin. Oh, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Joy sounds like.
Little kids laughing and salsa music
Mm.
and laughing with my girlfriends and singing at the top of my lungs.
Yes! Amazing. Maybe we can get you to sing when you come back on the show again. When you come back. So the podcast, y'all, is about. And by the way, Shelly, I'm feeling it too. I'm feeling the goosebumps. Shelly's crying right now. Yeah, that's human. That's being human, people. So you know that I talk about revolutions and change and joy revolutions, right? Jazz, what is your joy revolution moving into the next decade?
What is my joy revolution?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Well, my personal revolution is consciousness and power, helping people get into their power, which would put them in their joy because they have say in this world and how things play out. Yeah. Okay. So that's it.
Amazing. Amazing. I screwed up that. Okay, George is telling me I screwed up that part during the podcast. But don't forget that. Also, Jazz rules. Jazz, you do rule. Yeah, I remember that night that you texted me and you said that there was intrepidation going on, and I wrote about it in Facebook today that I was scared because I felt like I had met this soul sister, multiple soul people like George in over in Speakers Who Dare, and I couldn't come to comprehension over what it would be like to not move forward with this new posse, this new group of people. I'm so happy that you chose to stay here with us a little bit longer. So, with that said, for the last time in 2019, and the first time in the 200 series episodes of the Golden Mike Live. I got so many damn things of the Golden Mike Live. Jazz, I want you to imagine that there's a Golden Mike coming down from your ceiling over there in Tribeca. This Golden Mike has the potential to translate into every language all across the multiverse. Every sentient being can hear it. Not everybody's going to pick up what you're throwing down, but some people on this last day of the decade need to hear what it is that you're about to say. With that said, Jazz Biancci, your Golden Mic is live now.
Accept yourself. The good, the bad, the ugly, the dark, the light, the parts you've hidden away, the parts you relish in. It's all you. Accept it, love it, give it to the world. No more hiding.
No more hiding, people. It's time to hold that golden mic. I want you to take it and hold it because you're the last person to hold it in this decade. I want you to feel that weight. I want you to feel that weight of what you just spoke into. And I want you to smash that golden mic in a million pieces. Salsa on it. Do a little salsa on it, baby. Do a little salsa on it. Jazz Biancci, thank you so much. Midnight tonight, when the clock strikes 12, that's not the Joy Revolution, the Golden Mike podcast goes live. 3 episodes with Jazz Biancci are kicking it off, and you can see why she was the one that was chosen for this new episode. Life death, and resurrection. Jazz, I can't thank you enough for being on this show. Everybody, we hit the record, 220 fucking hearts. We broke the record for the decade. Keep hitting it, because I'm going to do one closing thing, and that's it. So in the links, you can go to iTunes right now and hit subscribe, so you don't even have to worry about it tonight when you're partying. When you wake up, the podcast will be ready for you, or if you can't go to sleep, you can listen to Jazz talk about her amazing story about life. This is it. This is the end of 2019. We've done 200 episodes. George took over the show. We've had an amazing time. Yeah, Happy New Year. And to you, Linda, and everybody who's been watching, if this has at all affected you, share it out. Social media for social good. We are officially turning the golden mic off for the year. I'll be back, guys, in the middle of January with some more golden mics for you. More guests, more good stuff, but you can listen to the podcast in the meantime. And so on behalf of Jazz and myself, we have one final question for everyone watching, and it's this. If you're feeling good, and if you're living in your full purpose, what is your responsibility to change history for the better? This has been Golden Mike 201. We'll see you soon. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy
Bye.
New Year.